What up, YouTube family? Today, I got one of my bowler friend on. But by the way that he dressed, you're not going to know that he's a bowler. But with all the real estate he owns, man, this guy is impressive. Sam, way younger than I am, has accomplished way more than I have. So I've learned a lot from him. And I'm able to get to know Sam, paying $30,000 to get to know Sam. So I'm excited to have him on and share with you guys how he went from a ordinary, regular guy to becoming a multi-millionaire, and also to how he's able to acquire and build his real estate empire. Now that is impressive. Sam, how many real estate have you owned up to today, dude?
Right now own about 47, 48 million in rental properties to date, and done about 1,000 fix and flip and wholesale deals.
Damn, dude. Now how many rentals do you own, Sam?
About 300. I don't know the exact number. I probably should, but I don't know the exact number, but around 300. We occasionally will sell one that I don't know about, and I'm not super involved in the like single family house rental process right now. So sometimes we add them without me knowing about, but about 300.
Nice. So Sam, are you guys focused on buying like single family, multi-family, apartment?
A little bit of both, Colin. A little bit of both. So we do. I have about 150 single-family rentals and 6 apartment complexes, a few self-storage, and a hotel. So we're kind of staying in that space. So we kind of like to be diversified. You know, we're all in real estate, but I'm kind of diversified within real estate.
Dude, I love it, Sam, because I remember when I got into real estate, dude. There's this guy. It was the first guy that I listened to, and I ended up paying $7,000 to go to his real estate seminar. But he was telling me this. He said, if all you carry around was $100 bill, it's really hard to break because some people don't have change to break $100 bill. But he said if you were able to carry around, $5, $10, $20, $100 bill. So whenever you need to use the $5, right, there are people that has that and can easily give you change. And what he means by that is, you want your portfolio to be some single family, some multi, some apartment, some, big commercial. That way, if you need to sell, right, like to say you need some cash, you need to sell the single family home, he said you can liquidate it a lot faster. Now, I don't know how true that is because I don't own a lot. I don't own enough to know. So, Sam, what is your take on that, man?
I 100% agree. That's a great analogy. I'm going to steal that for some content, but that's a great analogy. Yeah, I agree. I like multis and I like singles a lot. Those are the two biggest focuses for me, 5 units or more or single families. And exactly for that reason, they are more liquid. There's, when you go to sell a house, you have investors and homeowners to sell to. When you go to sell a 24-unit apartment complex, you only have investors to sell to, and very few investors can actually afford or get funding for a 24 unit. So the seller pool is smaller as the bigger you get with units, but I mean, everybody has money along every level of it. So we love to mix and match. And that's kind of exactly why I have my portfolio diversified, to be able to get the benefits of each of the different asset classes.
I love it. Now, Sam, let's go back to your story, man. How do you went from a regular guy working at a J.O. to B and able to escape that, man? Because not a lot of people can escape that. And then not a lot of people do. Even if they escape it, not a whole lot of people can get to the millionaire, the multi-millionaire level and owning that many rentals, dude. How do you do it?
Yeah, I think it's a couple different things. One, it's having a good partner. Lucas, having somebody that wants to grow with you. Because if Lucas is my business partner, he's been my best friend for 25 years. When you have someone else that shares your values and shares your work ethic, 1 + 1 can equal 50 or 1,000,000, whatever you want it to be. 1 + 1 can equal a lot more than just 2 if you have the right partner. So having the right partner, and then just doing it strategically. I didn't quit my job because I got a big wholesale check, or I didn't quit my job because I had 10 rentals. I quit my job when I had a steady flow of rental income coming in. I had a pipeline of flips and wholesales, and I had processes in place to continue to scale those things. I feel like so many people get too excited and they jump too quickly into that quitting their job thing. Having that W-2 income, while I get it holds you back, it makes you bankable. It gives you a safety net. It's really smart, in my opinion, to have a W-2 job a little bit longer. I'd rather have one a little bit longer than a little bit not long enough. So those were kind of the main reasons that I did it. And then also, similar to you, I'm just freaking crazy. I'm kind of a lunatic. So that's kind of what it takes, I think, kind of like you.
Well, you know what, man? At first they call you crazy until you do it and make it happen and make more money than they ever will. Then they'll be like, hey, Sam, I guess after all, you're not that crazy. Show me how.
That's kind of how it works. I'm sure you had that exact same thing happen to you.
So now, Sam, when talking about, my whole thing is, helping people escape the JOP, because I think you and I know how painful it is to work at, work at a place and work for somebody, that you might not be happy with whatever you're doing. And I think everybody, getting to that financial freedom goal might be different for everybody, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000. Not everybody, understand needs to be a millionaire or a multimillionaire. But Sam, how would you, let's just say that I'm now stuck at a JOB, man. Let's just say I make about between $5,000 to $10,000 a month from it. Well, what are some steps that, knowing what you know today, that if you can show me to cut down the learning curve to help me escape that rat race the quickest?
So I think there's two things. I think there's one thing is what I learned by screwing up is you need active income and passive income at the same time. I don't care if you you want to buy 50 single family rentals. Even doing that with the Burr method, or a method that doesn't require to put money in the deal, which is how most of us have to do it at first, you're not going to buy enough to replace your cash flow. So that's what I did for 2 years. I just chased rental properties, as many as I could, and bought about 25 or 30 of them. And that wasn't making a dent in Lucas or I quitting our job, because they were cash flowing $200 a month. And we had to, set money aside for reserves, and we didn't want to, spend the money that we're making on the rentals. So I think the mindset shift of, hey, I need to find distressed properties, and then I need to flip them, wholesale them, and keep them as rentals. What do I need? Do I need income right now? Let's wholesale or flip a couple. Are we good there? Then let's keep some as rentals. So I think the biggest thing, and what one of your biggest strengths you have is finding those distressed properties. Find them, and then based on your situation, figure out the best exit strategy. So that was a huge shift for me. And I even have like a Burr mentorship, but I'm changing it kind of to the Burrs is tough right now. Let's just teach people how to build a community, how to find deals, how to rehab them the right way, how to dispo them the right way, how to keep them if they want. We're just a holistic approach. That's when you can be most dangerous, when you have 5, 10s, 20s, singles, pennies, quarters, all those things in your wallet. Like you mentioned, being able to have multiple different exit strategies. And then the real secret is, and people aren't going to like to hear it, and that's okay, it's paying to follow somebody else's grooved path. Like, if I want to go be a good golfer, if I just go out and golf and don't listen or see or hear anybody, I'm not going to be very good. But if I watch some videos and tutorials, I'll probably be okay. But if I hire a coach to help me and look at my swing and show me how to do it, I'm going to at least play decent. There's no way around it. Every successful person I know, and you probably know, pays to follow somebody else's grooved path. So I know people don't want to hear it, but it is that shortcut. It's the only shortcut I've ever heard of that works, is paying to learn from somebody else's mistakes and doubling down on their wins.
Love it. So Sam, when you first started in real estate, what books, what podcasts did you listen to, and did you have a mentor, or did you already kind of make it and then had a mentor?
So I would say we made it. A lot of my mentor was Luke's and I just figuring out stuff together, having a business partner to lean on. Then I did have a mentor here locally in St. Louis. After doing about 2 or 3 years, kind of got to be around him a little bit. His name was Brian, and then we ended up partnering with him on a couple companies, and then buying him out. So it's kind of came full circle. But having that partner really, really helped me. We were doing okay and we were growing okay, but I feel like we just grew through hard work. I feel like hard work only gets you so far. Like, I'm a big proponent of hard work, but there's ceilings to hard work, because you only have so many hours in a day and you can only do so many things yourself. So if you want to grow and scale, you need a mentor or somebody to show you, hey, hiring this out is good, or having the right mindset will allow you to break through the ceilings. And that's what I've seen for most people. So I had a little bit of, a partner to lean in on first. And then when we started getting mentors involved, things really, really kind of took off.
Love it, man. Now, Sam, let's talk about, my question to you is, where does the person needs to be as far as in like income wise for them to like, hey, you know what? Now it's time to let go of the JO, the B, and go all into building whatever that business is that they wanted to build.
I would tell them to have a minimum of 6 months, like expenses. So like your house payment, your car payment, your grocery bill. If you're going to want to go on vacation, I'm a big proponent of enjoying life now, and enjoying it for the future. We're not like the Dave Ramsey where you eat cardboard and bologna and save your pennies and hate life for 40 years until you can retire at 62 and a half. Like, I'm a big proponent of enjoying life now. So I would tell them, make sure they have at least 6 months reserves aside for, living normally, not living frugally. So that's a minimum of that. And then I would also have at least 2 or 3 deals in the pipeline, so you have some active income coming up as well. So the best thing I would say, 6-month minimum for your personal and business expenses, and then have a few deals at least in the pipeline and processes set up to get more deals. And then I personally think it's nice to have a few rental properties. You don't have to grow and scale like I did, but if you have 5 rental properties and you quit your job and something really goes south, or the market takes a quick shift and you didn't catch it, you have those rental properties to potentially sell because there's probably equity in them. So they're kind of an additional backbone to have. So that's why I was able to do it and grow and scale, because I waited till I had all those things. I didn't jump too early.
I love it, man. So for those of you who don't know, man, Sam is a husband, a father of what, 2?
2, yep.
How old are they, man?
We got a 2-year-old Eliza and a 7-year-old, about to be 8-year-old daughter, maybe. So 2 girls. I got wife and 2 daughters and 2 female dogs. So I'm surrounded by females all the time. So I'm okay with
it. Dude, same here, bro. No, well, obviously I don't have any kids, but dude, I got 4 female dogs.
There you go.
Lon,
don't call Lon a dog. Don't call Lon a dog. Why did you do that, Khang?
Bro, I was gonna say Lon is actually 10 girls combined into one, man.
There you go.
Dude. So now, Sam, let me ask you this, dude. So how did you, people always ask about, obviously work-life balance. Like when you were, I'm not saying you are today, because you are today, obviously you're able to make the sacrifice, and now you have all the time in the world to do, to make your own schedule, to do whatever it is you want, where you have time to spend time with your kids, your wifey, go on vacation, do all of that. But before that, what was your schedule like? And how did you balance the whole thing, man? Being a dad, being a husband, and also being an entrepreneur. It's not easy.
No, it's not. And there's a lot that goes in. That's a great question, man. I think there's a couple of different things. The first thing is I quickly realized that work-life balance it's a journey. It's not a destination. You're never going to be completely balanced. It's not like one of those cartoons where you have, equal on both sides. Sometimes work's going to win. Sometimes personal life, family's going to win. So always be trying to keep them as balanced as possible and not shooting for this perfect Zen moment where everything is balanced. I think what's big for me, because I feel like most people think you get to this point and it's just work-life balance, smooth sailing. It's never that. Certain things happen at home where you need to be there. Certain things happen at work where you have to sacrifice. So I think just looking at it as more of a journey than a destination was big for me. And then the other part of it is I honestly don't have a ton of hobbies. I don't have time for them, but that's okay. That is intentional, Khang. I love my family, and my cup is filled hanging out with them. The fun, the enjoyment, the grind of, putting daughters down and having them cry and being sick and being there. That's amazing. And then my work, my businesses, my companies, those are fun and challenging, and they fill up my cup as well. So the enjoyment that somebody gets out of golfing 3 times a week or going on the, $25,000 vacation every other month, I get that same joy from, my family and from my work and my businesses. So I don't have like that third leg of these hobbies that I do all the time. Eventually I may, but my enjoyment comes from the other things, and the other things happen to be family and wealth building. So I'm fortunate that I get joy out of both of those things, where I don't need to search for joy elsewhere. So I don't know if that's just me or if that's what normal, but whatever it is, I have enough time to be really good at 2 of the 3, and I'm just dropping off the fun leisure stuff where you're just screwing off all the time for now. But I don't know if I'll ever do them, but I don't need them. I get enough enjoyment out of everything else.
I love it, man. So Sam, I mean, what is your hobby? I understand that you love spending time with the kids, the wife, and that. But if you were to have like a hobby that you would go do, what would it be? Like, for example, like for me, Sam, poker. Dude,
why haven't we played poker together? I'll let you take my money,
bro. Texas Hold'em all day long, bro. Before I met Lon, I don't go to casino, but before I met Lon, and Lon does not like gambler, because most gambler, like most Vietnamese, most Asian dude that I know that's a gambler, are broke, living paycheck to paycheck, regardless. Some of them sell the house, sell the cars, go homeless. So a gambler, in Lon's head is like, hey, they're not good, so she doesn't want me to be a gambler. So I quit playing, dude, for shit, man. Too long.
Are you not back in it now?
Well, typically I go home and I'll play at home, but We don't
Okay.
really do that anymore.
I bet you bluff all the time. Yeah,
I do.
I used to like when you make the kind of money you make, it doesn't even matter. You can just bluff. Um,
Yeah.
I used to play a little bit of Hold'em, but what I kind of like to do when I have some extra time is golf. I know I mentioned that earlier.
Oh.
One of those guys that golf, five maybe 10 times a year. I'd like to golf more. And I might
Mhm.
start to get into that a little bit more. It's fun. It's out. You're kind of away from everything, and out in nature to a certain degree. And you don't have a computer by you and a TV and all that stuff. You kind of can be out and kind of be let loose a little bit. So probably golf will be the thing that I would like to pick up a little bit more. But again, I'm not gonna leave early from work or my companies if I feel like they need me, or go on a Saturday for 5 hours and miss something with my daughter. So if there's really actually free time, I'll spend golfing. But other than that, I'm sticking with my family and with my businesses.
I love it, man. Hey, I think after I say this, I think I'm gonna get a lot of hate. But honestly, dude, I can't understand why people would like to play golf. It's boring, and I think it's an old people sport, bro. Like,
You're
okay, Sam, I think golf is boring, old people sport, Rolls Royce, old people. Like people are like, well, Khang, why don't you buy Rolls Royce? Dude, to me, when you say Rolls Royce, dude, someone who sits in that car is a 60-year-old. All right. Like it's just not cool. Lambo, I don't like Lambo, right? For me, I don't like Lambo because to me, when I see Lambo, I just see fast teenager, right?
What do you
18,
see when you
19
see
girl.
Ferrari? What do you
Ferrari,
see?
luxury, businessman, right? Businessman, luxury, entrepreneur. Like that's why I got Ferrari instead of Lambo. Like I didn't like it.
Yeah, golf. I guess I could see that, but I know a lot of like younger people that play golf. It's just one of those
Right.
things where, like I said, you're out
Boring.
and your phone's in the cart. You're talking, hanging out. It's like you play with your friends, so it's a good time to hang out with your friends. You're not
Sure.
distracted by anything else, and it's really hard.
Mm,
Golfing is really hard, and people like to be challenged and go out there and play golf because you're never like nobody's really good at golf besides professionals. So, but it's one of those things where we'll go golfing sometime. You'll hit one or two good shots and you'll be hooked. I promise.
bro, I gotta tell you, dude. The only time I go golfing is me on the golfing cart driving around, dude. That's the only thing that I love to do on the golf
Well,
course,
there you
bro.
go. That's part of it. You get to drive a golf cart too when you golf.
Sam, I would be your ball guy, right?
Be my
I'll go
caddy.
around. Yep. Now, Sam, how would someone buy their first rental? Or you know what? Maybe I should ask, how did you buy your first rental?
So I bought my first rental back in 2014. I actually bought it as a flip. I didn't know that you could, use bank financing and the Burrs method and refinance. I didn't know about that. So I thought I want to own rentals. Rentals build wealth. I want to get enough cash flow to quit my job, which was stupid. But I bought the house and was planning to flip it and then take the profits and put 20% down. So I thought for every one rental I was going to buy, I was going to have to buy a fix and flip, and then I was going to have to sell it and use the cash to buy a rental. So for every one rental, I was going to have to buy two houses. But in the middle of that process, I learned about the cash out refinance method, the Burr method, and I took it to the bank. And after a ton of banks said no, one said yes, and ended up keeping it. So I bought it, distressed. I used a private lender's money. I knew that you could use other people's money to flip houses. I'd seen HGTV, Tarek Musin, those kind of shows where they go to, their lawyer buddy that funds the deal and they split the profit. So I knew you could use other people's money to buy flips, but I didn't know you could do it for rental properties because I know private lender's not going to give you, money for the next 30 years. So I bought it, fixed it up, and then in that process decided and found out that I could keep it as a rental and ended up refinancing and paying my private lender their money back plus interest. And then I kept it in one property, one deal, one rental. I was like, wow, didn't use any of my own money. Wow. Why would I ever stop doing this? If I'm buying at discounts, there's equity, there's cash flow, there's no downside whatsoever, assuming that I manage the properties properly. Why would I stop? And I haven't really stopped, hence the 50 million in real estate and 300 properties and planning to do a lot more than that. So I just didn't really see a downside if done the right way. Obviously there's downsides if you over leverage and overspend and all those things, but if you do it the right way, there's no real downside to doing it that way.
I love it, man. So Sam, let's break down the number on your first rental really quick, man.
Yeah,
Do you still remember?
I do. Yep. So I bought the property for $77,000. I got it. So I had a private lender told me he'd give me $100,000. So I was looking for
Hold on, hold
properties
on.
for
hold on, Sam. Dude, you speak faster than Asian, bro.
I do speak fast. I don't know how the hell I have 3 million followers on social media. I talk too fast and I mumble, but whatever, it works.
So hold on a second. So Sam, so the purchase price on that property is $77K. You got the private lender, Moni. Who was it? Was it a relative, a family, a friend, or how do you found him?
It was kind of a family friend. So I
Okay.
had spent about 6 months trying to find private lenders, and I didn't have any experience. So it's really hard to get somebody to give you their money if you don't have experience.
True.
But what you need is a relationship. So after talking to a ton of people I knew and some people I didn't know very well, one of my dad's friends who was like an entrepreneur, we talked and known him for years. He said, all right, I will give you $100,000, line of credit, $100,000 to go do your first deal. So he gave us that money, or we had access to that money, and we were looking for deals and trying to make it work. And we bought this one for $77K, and it needed about $40,000 worth of work. So I didn't have the other $17,000 to do it. So what did I do? I did all the work myself, or as much as I could myself. So I took a $40,000 rehab down to about a $20,000 rehab, because we did the landscaping, the demo, the painting, laying simple flooring, all the like simple things that, Neanderthals like me can do. And then we hired out the rest and got it done, and was right under that $100,000 mark. And then at that point, I realized I wanted to do the refinance and not sell it. And I knew it was worth 120, 130 grand. So I took it to a bank, and several banks, I think 22 banks, told me no, because I went to like Bank of America and Wells Fargo, and they don't do shit like that. Sorry, stuff like that. So I finally found a bank that was willing to do it, and they appraised the property for $125,000, which they gave me a loan for 80% of that, and they gave me a check for 80% of that. So they wrote me a check for $100 grand. So I had $100,000 mortgage. It was worth $125,000. I took the $100 grand. I paid back my private lender their money plus interest, and I actually owed him a little bit of extra money because we didn't quite get everything back, but we rolled that into the next deal. But at the end of the day, I owed the bank $100 grand. Cost me $650 a month in mortgage payment. I was collecting $1,250 a month in rent. That covered my mortgage plus my owning expenses. I was cash flowing $250 a month. The property gave me 25 grand equity from day one. It was worth 100 or worth 125. I owed 100. And today that property is worth 240 grand, and I owe 60 grand. So that one property I still own today, 9 years later, is got me, 160,000, whatever it is, $170,000 in equity from one property that I bought that I've used for tax benefits as well as cash flow. So that's the beautiful thing. One rental property is not too sexy. A lot of rental properties over a, decent period of time turns into a lot of wealth.
I love it, man. So for those of you who's listening to this, my whole thing is, if you can somehow figure out how to keep and hold on to the rental instead of selling it. But I understand, we go through phase of life where we just have to sell those property, right? To get the cash coming in, to continue growing our business, to get to the next level. But I'm just saying, if you can figure out how just to get some more active income coming in without selling the rentals, I promise you, right? You will be way more happier 5 years, 6 years, 10 years from now. Like there were rental. I wish I said, oh my gosh, Khang, why did I sell it? But at the time I needed to sell because my business needed to grow. I need to get cash coming in. And I didn't have, the multiple stream of income like I have today, right? Because all my only business was real estate, right? And I started out as a fix and flip, and then I fix and flip a little bit, and then I end up holding on to some property, and then I end up having to sell some of the things where, man, looking back, Sam, I bought it was so cheap, bro. I bought this four units, and I negotiate the seller, dude. At the time, bro, I negotiated the seller, like it worth about 400,000 as is. I negotiate the seller down to 300,000. So the day that I signed it, dude, $100,000 in equity, it gets, dude. And then I went to the bank and got a loan. I put 20% down, et cetera. So I have a loan on for like 280 or something like that, bro. What's crazy, Sam? That building brings in $4,500 a month.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. So I was cash flowing heavy, bro. And then I think, the reason I sell it, one is I need that liquid cash. So I end up selling it. But today, that property, dude, worth about almost 800 G's.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I needed it, and I think there was a lot of fear in me too, Sam. There was a bunch of like, dude, there's so much fear because I haven't owned enough rentals, right?
Mhm.
So all these fear were coming up, and I like, you know what? Maybe this is a headache rental. Maybe I should just sell it, and that's what I did. And looking back, I say, damn, dude, I should have just keep on holding on to and figure out some way to get some more active income coming in.
No, I get it. It's tough, and that's why you got to be flexible. And that's the beautiful thing about real estate. But yeah, I mean, real estate doubles in value every 15 years, calling a minimum. I've looked it up since 1950. Every 15 years, it doubles in value. So that means if you bought something in 1965, by 1980, it doubled. If you bought something in 1992, by 2007, it doubled. So real estate doubles in value every 15 years. So yeah, if you're able to manage it and not come out of pocket and have at least cash flow a little bit, that's where wealth is created. You can get rich wholesaling and flipping, but wealth is created through assets, specifically equity in assets. So either businesses or real estate, that's where wealth's created, the assets and the equity built in them.
Love it. So Sam, I want to talk about this, man. So I get a lot of people going, and obviously you've done the fix and flip, you've done the wholesale, you've done a buy and hold. Obviously, you own over 300 rentals. So I get a lot of people comment and say, "Hey, Khang, I got about 20K or 30K. Let's just say I got about 20K to 50K of save up. I'm still stuck at the J-O to B." And a lot of them think like this, Sam. And I think not just that person, but I think I used to think like that too, is if I can just go buy enough rental property, right, where the passive income can replace my J-O to B, and then that's when I'm able to quit. So my question to you, if someone had that kind of money saved up and they're stuck at the J-O to B, should they go buy rental, or what should they do with their money?
I would use that money to pay for somebody else's guidance. First off, most mentor coaches, there's hundreds of them out there. There's probably 10 or 15 good ones, and you're
Yeah.
one of them as well. But I would use a fraction of that to get some guidance, and then I would leverage it. I wouldn't use it for 20% down. I wouldn't quit my job. I would go find distressed properties and then wholesale them or flip them if they make sense. Because a lot of the properties you've wholesaled, Kongs, you couldn't have kept as rentals because they wouldn't cash flow. They're too expensive
Correct.
or they're not in the right area. So I would go find distressed properties, maybe pay for some leads, and then do the best exit strategy. And I would wait until it was the right time before I quit my job. Like having 50 grand cash, Kong, spending a few grand on a mentor, and having, let's say, 40 grand cash left, you are so much more dangerous. A hard money lender will much more likely lend you money if you got 40 grand in the bank than if you have $400 in the bank. And maybe a hard money lender will only do the purchase price and you have to come with the rehab out of pocket. So you got that 40 grand. So that's what I mean by leverage it. They fund the deal, you fund the rehab. Or hard money lender will do all of it, but they want 10% down and then you have to pay them 1% monthly. So having access to some amount of cash just gives you way more options. So that's what I would do. I would leverage that money. I wouldn't use it in the long term. I wouldn't put it down on a property. I would just use it to learn and get guidance. And then I would use it to actually be active and go get deals.
Love it, man. So Sam, there's a saying that said millionaires have 7 streams of income. My question to you, Sam, one is, at what age did you become a millionaire, and how many streams of income did it actually took you to hit that first $1 million?
Yeah. See, I'm always just living so far in the future. We're trying to get to $1 billion. I don't give a shit about $1 million. But when I became a millionaire, I was probably 28, 29 years old. I was still at my job. I quit my job when I was 30, and I had probably like 3 or 4 streams of income at the time. My flipping, my wholesaling, some, stocks and bonds and things. And I had my rental portfolio and things like that. I didn't have an education company or some of the other companies I've started, but I would say 28, 29, and probably 3 or 4 streams of income. So I wasn't quite to that 7, but I guess it depends on how much you break it down, but.
Got it. So Sam, I know one of your goals is obviously to become the next billionaire, man, with the B. So do you have a plan? Like, what's your plan, or what's your strategy on how you're going to get there?
Borrow it from you.
Dude, I don't even have a B in it at all, dude. Anything with a B, dude, forget it, bro.
I don't know exactly how we're going to get there. It's one of those things where I have three pretty active real estate companies right now: an education company, a flipping and wholesaling company, and a rental and a rental portfolio company. So those are my 3 main companies. I'm going to have to grow those, keep buying real estate. Again, real estate doubles in value every 15 years. So I'm 36. If I can get to 500 million in real estate owned, 10 times what I have now, by the time I'm 50, by 65, it'll be $1 billion. Like real estate will do a lot of the heavy lifting because it does double in value every 15 years. So that's going to be a big part of it. But I'm going to have to grow and scale businesses that have that valuation as well. And $1 billion's a cool goal. It's kind of fun. It's a real goal. But again, if we fall short, that's okay. I had set too little of goals for the first, part of my investing entrepreneurial journey that now we're setting big goals.
I love it. So Sam, when do you think that you hit that B, bro?
I think 52, 16 more years.
So you give yourself 16 more years. By the time you're 52, you'll become a billionaire.
We'll see.
And how many real estates do you have to own by that time, Sam?
A lot, a damn lot. I don't even know. It depends on obviously the asset class and the area and the, I stopped worrying about, I used to chase like units, like this many units, this many rental properties. Now it's valuation because, I can, my 19 unit apartment complex is like a $6 million complex. And I have a 32 unit that's 1.5 million. So, it's more about the quality assets and the value of those assets, not necessarily the door count. So that's been more of my focus the last couple of years. And I think your buddy Thatch, I heard him say that he sees all the wealthiest people he knows in all of his 30 years. The number one things he's learned is, buying high quality A-class, B-class assets and not trying to get a bunch of crappy properties. That
is correct. And I think that's his goal is ultimately become a billionaire as well. And I think he said by the time he said he's 60 or 60 something, I don't know exactly, he'll hit $1 billion within basically through real estates, all the real estates that he owns. And the crazy thing about the cat is that he doesn't own a lot. He doesn't have partners on it. And he doesn't own a lot because majority of his property in a prime freaking location in Seattle. Now, bro, Seattle, Bellevue, and I know he lives in some very, very expensive. I for some reason I forgot the place, but dude, you got to be a pretty bowler, man, to start buying in those area. And Sam, here's one thing I want to touch base on, man, is that when I tell people about the whole cash flow thing, until you get to the point where you're owning, at least if you're owning 50 rentals and majority of them are paid off. That's when the really cash flow, you can really, really live off of it, or you have to own hundreds of rentals, right? And if you're leveraging them, that's, then you can actually live off the cash flow. But if you're owning 10, 20 rentals, I'm telling you, man, it's just going to barely getting you by based on just the cash flow itself because of all the maintenance, repairs, the turnover, the vacancy and all of that. So Sam, that's why I said, dude, the middle class, they always focus on the whole cash flow because I used to think that as well. But I realized the rich people, dude, just like you mentioned, they're about location and appreciation and obviously tax benefit. So for you now, Sam, what's your take on that when you go and buy a piece of property? Because I know you mentioned about you don't really care about the current cash flow on it, but over time.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about cash flow. And I don't want to spend a ton of money every month to own something, but there's so many benefits that come along with owning a rental property. Lucas and I did a video, or it was a clip from our podcast where Ken McElroy called us idiots because we'll buy something that loses $50 a month in cash flow. And the reason is we get a write-off $8,000 a year in depreciation. The property grows at values of, 5 to 10% a year. The mortgage is getting paid down every single month, and cash flows at a minimum day one because the rent should grow faster than your expenses. Some expenses are fixed, some are variable, but your rent, if you raise rents properly, that grows faster than your expenses. So naturally, you negative 50 the first year, negative 25 the second year, maybe plus 10 the third year. So it grows. Your cash flow should grow over time. And as far as what I'm looking to do, I'm in St. Louis. I like to own where my assets are. I like to live there. Eventually, I'll probably go outside St. Louis, but I like a little bit of both. And that's because that's what St. Louis gives me. I can get a little bit of decent amount of cash flow and a decent amount of appreciation. I don't get the appreciation of Seattle, but I get way more cash flow. And I don't, get the cash flow of, maybe somewhere like in a really rough area of Oklahoma or something, a lower price area, but there's no appreciation. So St. Louis, you can get, 5-6% appreciation plus, you know, $200-300 a month cash flow. So you kind of get the best of both worlds, which is why St. Louis is such a good landlord friendly and good market to own rentals in.
I love it, man. See, the thing is, obviously, for those of you, if you're starting out, right, and you're not making a boatload of money, obviously, you don't want to buy something that either break even or negative cash flow. But I'm telling you right now, the people that are making a boatload of money, like Sam makes, you know, a couple $100,000 a month. You know, when you're making 300 to 400 G's a month, you really don't care about, hey, writing a check for $200. Or, you know, you don't care about writing a check for $10,000, knowing that you're going to own this property in a prime location that you want. Over time, it's going to appreciate. But the most biggest thing is you'll be like, hey, dude, I get to write off this thing against my income. So instead of paying Uncle Sam 100 G's, I'll buy this thing. I'm cool with writing a check, you know, $250 every single month. I'm fine with that. But dude, it's going to save me $100,000 paying it to Uncle Sam. And like I said, when you're making a couple hundred G's a month, you don't really care about writing a check for that. What you care about is that location, appreciation over time, and obviously that tax benefit. And over time, I mean, Sam, you know, dude, the cat don't own 300 plus rentals because he's stupid. All right, dude, people that's in his positions, they're very strategic and they're very smart with their move, right? And then some of you are calling names. Maybe you're playing checker and the guy's playing chess. So, you know, so I'm saying whoever called that, I don't even know the cat name, Sam, but all I got to say is because the reason he think that, because he's not making enough money a month. Mm-hmm. He's not bringing in enough active income. So once again, obviously, if you don't have any money, then you don't want to do that. But once you make a lot, dude, that's where you want to be. So Sam, first off, dude, how can people connect with you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, whatever social media platform you're on. I'm still banned on TikTok, but hopefully we're going to get out of that soon. But whatever social media platform you're on, I'm on there. If you want to interact with me, just shoot me a message on Instagram. So that's the best place to interact with me and ask me questions. I can point you in the right direction and go buy Khang's book and buy my book and Khang's book. Go buy them both.
Let's go, baby. Hey, Sam, how can people go grab a copy of your book, man? For those of you who listen, hold on a second. For those of you who's listened to me, all right, and you've been following me for a while, and you have never met Sam, I'm telling you, this guy is one of the sharpest, the most humble, and the most giving out of all. If you ever met Sam, all right, in person, you will never know this guy's a multimillionaire owning hundreds of rentals because of how down to earth he is and the way that he dressed.
Well, I appreciate that. I think I don't know if you make fun of the way I dress or not, but no, I'm kidding.
No, I'm not.
I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, no, they can just pick the book up on Amazon. It's called Own Your Freedom. It's on Amazon, just like they can find yours. So yeah, go check it out. It's $5. I made it pretty cheap. I think I make like $1 every book we sell. So I'm just trying to get it out.
Sam, now in the book, dude, give people the three things that you pick, the three things in the book that you place in the book that you don't really talk about.
I get pretty personal in the book. I talk about, you know, my childhood and my upbringing and kind of how I was raised and what my plan was. I'm able to just get in a lot. I'm just able to get in a lot more detail of, you know, my story, because I'm, you know, short form videos, TikToks, you can't really get into somebody's story and get to know them as well, right? So that's the one thing is I talk a lot of personal, and then I give a lot of personal examples of things that I've did that kind of shaped, you know, why I decided to hire somebody to mow my lawn. And that first time they did it, I was sitting in the backyard and thought of a video that got 100,000 views because I was willing to pay somebody to do something I didn't want to do. Had I not done that and was mowing the grass, who knows if I would have made that video. That kind of, so things like that. I just get really personal with some stories of how I was able to do it. Then I have a lot of really cool stories of people that I've known. You're in the book. I talk about you for you know, a couple pages and everything. So it's just kind of peels behind the curtain. It just gives like a realistic view through my story of how anybody can do what I've done.
I love it, Sam. Dude, I appreciate that, man. I'm extremely humble when Sam texts me and say, hey, Khang, you're going to be in my book. I say, no freaking way, dude. So now, Sam, let's wrap this up, dude. For those that are, let's just say they're starting out, all right? So know what you know today, man. All right, what are some tips, advice that you can give to that person? Let's just say giving to yourself when you're like 20. What are some things that you would give yourself the advice when you're 20, man?
When I was 20 years old, I would tell myself to Probably to seek some guidance earlier. I remember when I was starting, I thought like all people that sell courses are fake, and I'm not going to pay $4 grand for somebody's course to learn their way. I'll just do it on my own. I got ego and pride got in the way. Like I'm not going to
Same
pay
here.
it. Either they're scamming me or it's not worth it. When in reality, thinking that your W-2 job is gonna always be there, and they're never gonna fire you, and they're never gonna find somebody else to replace you, and technology's not gonna replace you. That's stupid. That's naive. Not thinking that somebody's always out to screw you over. So I think leaning on other people's knowledge sooner is something I would tell myself would be the main thing to do. And then the other thing would be I wasn't scared of debt, but I didn't understand debt. As soon as I truly understood leverage, is when things exploded. Like I leverage other people's skills. I get 300 hours of work done every single day because I have employees that work 8 hours a week for my company. And then I leverage other people's knowledge by paying to be around people like you and learn a thing or two. So then I move quicker. And then I leverage other people's money to like buy things and acquire assets that I couldn't buy with myself. So as soon as I didn't really truly understand leverage, so probably like maybe 3 years ago. So I would tell myself to really understand leverage, dig into what leverage is and how you can use it, and then use other people's knowledges, which is part of leverage.
Sam, I love it, man. So once again, Sam, how can people go and follow you, dude?
Sam Faster Freedom is my name. Kind of a goofy name, but Sam is my name, and then Faster Freedom is my brand. So Sam Faster Freedom on any platform. Check me out there, and fastfreedom.com. Check out the website if you want, and check out the book.
Everybody go give Sam a follow. Sam, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, King Khang.
Take care, bro. All right, YouTube family, I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. Once again, Sam is a badass guy, super down to earth, super humble. I love the dude. And once again, it was an honor to be able to be in his book. But anyways, if you haven't grabbed my book, all you need to do is go to, and this is what I'm going to do for you. Just go to WTMbook.com. And if you go there, you fill out your name and your email. And then make sure you watch out for an email in the next 30 minutes or so. My team will send you a free ARV calculator and a free rehab calculator that I charge $497 for. We spent a lot of time, all right, on that ARV calculator and a rehab calculator. So it doesn't matter if you have any knowledge, any experience in the real estate game. It's like a plug and play, right? You punch in the number, it'll automatically spits out and tell you what the property's worth. And then you punch in the rehab, just put in numbers, and it'll show you exactly what the rehab cost will be on that property. So you can make a fair and intelligent offer to the seller as quickly as possible. Anyways, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this. Until next time, family, take care, and let's go get this money.